Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are back again, and today I'm going to show you guys the behind the scenes mastering process to On the Way, this track by Matthew Webb that I had previously mixed. If you did not catch that video of me mixing this track and breaking it down from the beginning to the end, make sure to click this video link right here, somewhere around here, and it will send you to that video. Or you can wait till after this video to check out that mixing video. But here we go in the mastering process for this song. So the first thing that I want to do is I have the mix here. Play a little bit. So one thing I did was I bypassed the limiter. You definitely want to do that before mastering. And basically I'm going to bounce this mix so that it's ready for mastering and put it into a new session so that I am simply just working with the 2-track. So let's bounce this mix. I'll highlight basically the whole song. And let's bounce it. So settings, I like to do 32-bit float. I like to have the greatest bit depth possible before mastering. I'll call this On the Way mix, and then we'll call this TBM. Stands for to be mastered. We don't need an MP3. We want to make sure we're doing the output, the correct output, and everything looks good, so we'll bounce this. And so once this track is finished, then we're just going to upload this into a new session. Generally, for projects that I've personally mixed, I don't feel the need to do stem mastering for them, since these are things that I've intricately and spent time mixing. Generally, a 2-track master on those mixes is perfect and is better in a way, because you got the levels of the vocal and the instrument, like all the levels are working with each other in that mix. It's just about fine-tuning that mix and making the overall sonics, translate on multiple different speakers, laptops, radio, car, etc. So a 2-track mix in this example is perfect. But in the event that I do get a mix from a client, for example, and the mix just isn't too great, I will ask the client, do you want to do stem mastering? Let's break down the tracks. It's going to give you more flexibility. That way I'm kind of doing a hybrid of like mixing and mastering. But this will just be a mastering example by itself. So now let's create a new session and just call this On the Way Master. All right, and then I'm going to put this in my folder for Matthew. We got 44.1, 24-bit. We're good to go. All right, let's import the track. All right, cool. So now here we got the track. Let's create a master track as well. So we'll go to New, Stereo, Master. Boom. One thing I like to start with is I always like to put a loudness meter on. And generally, majority of the time, master for -8. LUFS, LUFS. I like to master for -8. That's just me. I think going past -8, you start to lose some dynamics. You can push -6. Things start to become distorted at that point. The next thing I'll do is I'll grab a limiter, the fab filter limiter. I'll do the all around setting. And basically I'm going to push this up until we get to around -8, but I'm going to give it some breathing room because we're going to be doing some other processing. So here we go.
And you know we on the wave. And you know we on the wave. Niggas riding on the wave. It's my Richie, we the wave. And you know we on the wave. And you know we on the way.
I'm living life like this a fantasy. No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me?
All right, cool. So I got the overall volume around where I'm gonna want this master to live. So now let's dive into the next processes. So basically you want to familiarize yourself with the song. You want to understand the sonics of like how it is right now. And basically we're tackling problems when we're mastering first. I think that's the biggest thing. So let's listen.
Just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it. Never looking back or taking L's.
So the first thing that I hear is a little bit too much bass. The kick and the bass are doing a little bit too much. So I'm gonna grab a multiband and I'm gonna compress the bass. I'm gonna go to linear phase and let's just dial down this threshold. I'll set the attack to around 50 for now. We'll do a 2-to-1 ratio, and we'll dial down this threshold and compress the low end a little bit more. Let's hear it.
Fantasy. No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality.
That's a good starting point. I think the low end is tighter and more controlled there.
All the fakes that I used to know, I gotta make it. Never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for.
So I think the next thing that we need is this track needs some clarity, needs some excitement. We got to boost some frequencies, right? So let's go for one of my favorite plugins for this, the music tone. And I just love these type of EQs because you're not super particular with the frequency band, but you're just playing with the knobs and just getting an overall feel and a vibe for like how you want the frequency response of the master as a whole to come back at and hit you at. So let's play around with these. We're going for excitement, clarity, but not harshness. So you don't want to push it too hard, but just enough. So here we go.
I'm living life like this a fantasy. No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality.
We're getting a little bit of distortion, so I'm gonna bring this back a little bit and keep going.
No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it. Never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals. I pick up what you in life like this a fantasy. No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it. Never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals. I pick up what you can't hold. Never give up my soul. I'm letting my dreams unfold, cause I gotta wait.
Niggas riding on the wave. It's Mad Richie, we the wave.
Yeah. Life like this a fantasy. No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, it's just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals. I pick up what you can't hold. Never give up my soul. I'm letting my dreams unfold, cause I gotta wait.
Niggas riding on the wave.
So I may tweak that later, but as you can see there, all the knobs are turned just slightly. I'm just shaping the tone of the master. Basically, I wanted to add some more warmth, so I boosted some 320, but I wanted less low end. This song is more about the melody and the message, and it's not really about the beating of the drums or anything. So I turned down pretty much the low end from 130 onward and down. I turned that down a bit. I boosted the clarity with the 5K bands, a little bit of this shelf at the 12.5K. So here is the track Bypassed.
If this is meant to be, I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire.
And let's put it back on just to hear it.
No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every.
So I think there's a little bit too much 5K, a little bit too brittle. Let's pull it back a little bit.
No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality.
Cool. So one thing that I'm noticing as I'm boosting more of these high frequencies is the S's are coming out. You know, we got a lot of this the sibilance coming. So sometimes I like to DS the master, and I'll use this plugin here. And I love this plugin, the Fab Filter, because it distinctly looks for the S's and the sibilance, and it just ducks those. It doesn't duck, you know, across the board all of the high frequency range, which would kill the master. So for mastering, I love this DS plugin. So let's see what type of S's the plugin is going to pick up and see if we can smooth out some of the S's.
Life like this a fantasy. No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach. Life like this a fantasy. No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, it's just how I roll. Never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goal.
So right there, I'm getting a decent setting. As you can see, the de-esser is only picking up the S's. It's very intelligent in that way. It's picking up the sibilance only, and we're getting a little bit of reduction. So let's play the master, see what we need to do next.
Ain't no we on the way. Ain't no we on the way.
We on the way, yeah. I'm living life like this a fantasy. No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, it's just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals. I pick up what you can't hold. Never give up my soul.
So I think we could actually add some more of those low harmonics, the warmth in the track. Basically, all I did there was I boosted back some gain on the limiter so we can get closer to that -8. And I needed more de-essing, so I just increased the range here so that the de-esser is hitting those sibilances a little bit harder. But I think we need more of this 320. So let's listen back and hear what we hear and check it out. Hey, what's going on, guys? If you're someone who struggles with mixing, I have a free resource that I would love to share with you and that I think that could really help you. It's a brand new mini course that I've uploaded to my website called 6 Mix Finalizers. In this course, it's going to teach you 6 different ways that you can finalize your mix. I know a lot of the times we get to the ending of our mix stage and we're just unsure if our mix is completely finished. By taking this mini course, you're going to have complete confidence and satisfaction in that final mix that you do put so much time and energy into, and you're going to be so confident in finishing it and finalizing that mix. This course is also going to teach you 6 different ways to enhance your mix at the end of the mixing stage. So it's going to give you some tips and tricks for things to look out for that a lot of people miss and a lot of people don't look out for when they're finalizing their mix. It's going to show you how to get the perfect vocal volume in your mix. It's going to show you how to tighten up your bass, get more punch, a lot of great things to enhance your mix right at the end as you're about to finalize it. So if you want complete confidence and satisfaction with your mixes and just knowing that, yo, I've done everything that I possibly could and I know that this mix is done now that I've taken this course and I learned a few things, you can totally take that course completely for free. Link is in the description below to take that course on my website. So I hope I can show you guys a few things and become your teacher. Peace.
No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, it's just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all excel.
It sounded pretty good. We can also use this multiband plugin to suppress some of the sibilants and high frequencies that are harsh. So I'm going to try and do some of that now. Usually when I use multiband compression in mastering, I like to reduce harshness, reduce too much bass, stuff like that. So let's kind of get the high end nice and smooth. Here we go.
Fantasy, no guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, it's just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all excel. And celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals. I pick up what you can't hold. Never give up my soul. I'm letting my dreams unfold, cause I gotta wait.
Let's play that back. So what I was doing there is I was compressing some of the high-end frequencies, but it became too much. So to compensate for the compression, we're just going to boost back that high band here until it starts to feel a little bit more smooth, a little bit more lively in the mix.
Living life like this a fantasy. No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, it's just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all excel. And celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals. I pick up what you can't hold. Never give up my soul. I'm letting my dreams unfold, cause I gotta wait.
Niggas riding.
So So one thing I did there was I reduced the time of the release, because with high-end information, it moves very quick. It's not like low-end information. So to have the track breathe more, I made the release really short, and I made the attack really fast, because you want to clamp down on the sibilance and harshness really quick. So I think we got a decent setting there. One thing I like doing is bypassing all of these plugins just to hear the difference that we've done so far, and it will give us an indication of what we need to do later on. Again, mastering is more about listening. I mean, mixing is about mixing too, or listening as well, but you really have to listen a lot with mastering. You're not trying to do too much. You're just trying to enhance what's already there. So let's listen to the song without any plugins and put them back in and see the difference.
Like this a fantasy, no guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day, build an empire, I would say.
All right, let's put back in all the plugins.
Like this a fantasy, no guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day.
So already I can hear that I like the clarity of this already, the processing, but the bass is a little bit too compressed now. I feel like we need more low end. So we're going to use the multi-band and play with that.
No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day, build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality, achieving new goals, just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals, I pick up what you can't hold, never give up my soul.
That sounded pretty good. One thing I like to do as well to smooth out the master is adding some tape. And you can kill your master by doing this. You can also enhance it. So usually if I set this around 1.6, the bass alignment here, usually then the bass is pretty much the same as before having not used this plugin. I put the noise reduction all the way down. I leave everything else the same. These are pretty much always the settings that I need, and I'll just increase this input until I start to feel a vibe and a cohesiveness and a sound that I just really like. So let's try and use this tape plugin. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we'll try it now.
See, no guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day, build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality, achieving new goals, just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fake.
So I like the smoothness that I'm getting. There's more excitement in the track with those harmonics being boosted, but overall we're getting a little bit of distortion. So I'm gonna pull back on the limiter and hear how everything is sounding.
I gotta reach higher every day, build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality, achieving new goals, just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goal.
It sounded pretty good. I think there's still a little bit. I want the high end to be a little bit more smooth. So I'm going to play with the EQ a little bit. And if the EQ doesn't do it for me, then we may need to use a different plugin in our chain here. But let's play with this EQ and see if we can kind of reduce some of the high band or move some frequencies around and just try and make it a little bit more smooth.
No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day, build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality, achieving new goals, just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals, I pick up what you can't hold. Never give up my soul, I'm letting my...
So I like that. This EQ is very touchy, so even moving it just point a few decibels really makes a difference. So let's switch to a different pair of monitors and listen back. Again, mastering, even more so than mixing, is just about referencing. So now I'm switching to my bigger monitors, or not bigger, but these black monitors here. I was on the Yamahas. Now I'm switching over to my event monitors to test out the master. So let's listen again.
No guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality, achieving new goals, just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals, I pick up what you can't hold. Never give up my soul, I'm letting my dreams unfold, cause I gotta wait.
Niggas riding on the wave.
I think we could boost some of the mids and so the vocals shine out just a little bit more. So let's try and mess with either the 800 or the 2000, the 2K band here, and just boost some more mids.
No guarantee else. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals, I pick up what you can't hold. Never give up my soul, I'm letting my dreams unfold, cause I gotta wait.
Niggas riding on the wave. It's my Richie, we the wave. And you know we on the wave. And you know we on the wave. Niggas riding on the wave. It's my Richie, we the wave. And you know we on the wave.
So that is sounding pretty good to me. One thing I'd like to do is do a linear EQ, and I want to do a high pass, and I want to get rid of any rumble that I hear, usually below around 30 hertz, 40 hertz and below. You're going to start to just get some mud and rumble, and it's going to take away from your low end. So I'm doing this on the master now. So here we go.
If this is meant to be, I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me.
And basically, you're listening for the general master to just sound tighter. That low end just getting really tight. So let's bypass this, and I'm going to play around with the frequency and find exactly where that nice frequency is.
Like this a fantasy, no guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Build an empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality, achieving new goals, just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals.
So right there, I start to feel just enough bass. It doesn't take away from the bass and the low end, so it just tightens up the whole master as a whole. Let's listen to a different section in the song just to see how it's sounding.
When I was down bad, wasn't with the drilling then. Now I love that loud blast, send me who you understand. If they can't believe what we achieve, we make it feel it. Then my niggas moving militant, won't go through what we did again. Solid, we do not pretend, we're mine to the end. I ain't switching friends, and that's on the game.
higher every day. Building empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, it's just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals.
So sometimes I like to use, I'm going to move this over. Sometimes I like to use Soothe on the master ever so slightly. So this plugin basically automatically, it has an AI, it has a computer built into it. It automatically finds harshness and resonances and frequencies. Usually you're dealing with the mid-range, higher mid-range. It helps smooth out the vocals. It helps smooth out the music. You hear this plugin in action. All you really have to mess with is the sharpness, selectivity, and the depth. The depth is like your threshold. So check out as I apply this plugin and hear how it begins to smooth out certain frequencies in the mid range really nicely.
See, no guarantee if this is meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Building empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, it's just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goal.
Basically, we found the setting that really makes, smooths out the mid-range a lot and with this Soothe plugin. So check it out. I'm going to bypass it.
It's meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Building empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see.
And really pay attention to the vocals and the guitars, everything in that mid-range. Now I'll put it back in.
It's meant to be. I gotta reach higher every day. Building empire, I would say. Hey, all these haters, why they mad at me? They see me climbing up to face reality. Achieving new goals, it's just how I roll.
Do you see how there's like just a smooth blanket? That's just the way that I like to perceive it. But it's like there's a smooth blanket just chilling right on the mid-range, and it just makes the whole experience just a lot smoother and nicer.
Achieving new goals, it's just how I roll. Had to kick out all the fakes that I used to know. I gotta make it, never looking back or taking L's. They look to see me fall, guess you don't know me well. I put on for my team and for the reason we can all exhale and celebrate the moments we done been through hell. I set my own goals. I pick up what you can't hold. Never give up my soul. I'm letting my dreams unfold, cause I got away.
Niggas riding on the wave. It's man Richie, we the way. Yeah. And you know we on the way. And you know we.
So I think that this master is pretty much done. So I'm going to bypass all of the plugins. And I like to do this test because the limiter is still set at the same level. I haven't changed it, but it's going to give you an exact reference as to before and after with plugins and without plugins, with processing, without processing. And there may be a slight gain difference with the plugins, but it's very minimal. And it will let you know if you are comfortable with it. So before, with the plugins bypassed.
But you can't hold. Never give up my soul. I'm letting my dreams unfold, cause I got away.
Niggas riding on the wave. It's man Richie, we the way. Yeah.
And then now let's put in the plugins and just hear the difference.
But you can't hold. Never give up my soul. I'm letting my dreams unfold, cause I got away.
Niggas riding on the wave. It's man Richie, we the way. Yeah. And you know we on the way. And you know we on the way.
So I really like it. It's a lot clearer. The background vocals and the chorus vocals are popping out. The main lead vocals popping out. The drums are still felt, but they're not like just all in your face or muddying up the mix or too boomy. So I think we are good, and that is kind of the process of mastering this track and how I master a lot of songs. So if you didn't watch the video of how I broke down mixing this track, make sure you click it. A link will be somewhere here in this video. So click that link. You'll be able to see how I broke down the mix from the beginning. But thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys liked that video and this content, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to this channel, because I'm always putting out new videos of tips, tricks, mixing, mastering, producing, all of these things, and behind the scenes, and showing you guys the process and how you guys can learn and grow and become better at being producers in your own right. So with that being said, I'll see you guys for another video soon. Peace.